I hear that. I hear that. Hope springs eternal in the spring. We were like, oh, this could be our year.
Oh,
Uh,
I've been saying that since like since the very beginning. Spring
yeah,
spring is spring. Everybody is a contender, and everybody's the future champion.
absolutely. Um, I, today, and guys, if you're watching on Facebook or watching on YouTube, welcome. I'm David Specht. I am a media CEO, a realtor here in Middle Tennessee, and a business coach. And I'm here with Omar Medrano, serial entrepreneur and a business coach, and a host of the wildly successful podcast, What If It Did Work? Um, and Omar, I want to talk a little bit about that because you just celebrated your 250th episode. And one of the things that you did is you took a screenshot of that and talked about consistency, how important it was in that arena to be consistent. And you talk about no days off, no season breaks, and I want to just kind of throw it your direction and say, what does that look like day in and out? What gets you to 250?
You know what gets me to 250 is you have to. There's always going to be the naysayers. There's always going to be voices. The biggest voice isn't from some idiot that's telling you your show stinks or nobody listens or what's the point. It's your limiting beliefs. It's that little bitch voice that we all have inside our head. Yeah, 250 weeks, but I mean, I've probably wanted to quit like 500 times.
It, as a fellow podcaster, and of course this generally ends up on our podcast if I could ever figure out the technology. The podcasting is such a saturated medium now. Everybody and their brother with an iPhone almost can do a podcast, but yours has stood the test of time because really, you're almost 5 years into this, and every week for 5 years, the numbers have started to play out. I mean, I remember you celebrating some of the numbers. Kind of break down, what how has it come along? Was there a splash and then it fell off? Was it steady growth? Has it just been, how has it gone for you?
Steady growth, man. Dave, my first episodes were 40, 50, 60, 70 downloads. And that wasn't me going to Sears or Circuit City pressing play in the computer section. It was literally I would call, I would DM, I would text people, and people would be like, "Yes, I get it," and be like, "No, you don't, because you're not subscribed." So it got to the point. I mean, there was even a woman at the gym that she's like, "Well, this is getting very uncomfortable." I'm like, "I'm not hitting on you. I'm not hitting on you. I need you to download. I need you to listen." And it was slow growth in the sense that we always go for these big guests. And yes, I had the Carmichael, Evan Carmichael, and I had Jen Sincero, and the first season, and then it was like, they're not saying anything that you haven't heard like 1,000 times already, and it's not like they're going to help you promote your show. They're like, "Hey, we're on. That's all you need to know." The easiest way to grow is just all these people want to promote something, their book, their selling system, their leadership program, or whatever. So the more guests you have, that's how you tap into an audience. And you just do something on a consistent basis. But that's the magic formula. Going to the gym, it sucks the first million times. And it's like, it was for me, the show. People, all my friends would have a drinking game whenever I said a filler, like, and all that praise. And it got to the point. I'm like, I'm stubborn and I'm also competitive. And I'm like, oh, so you guys think it's a joke? Well, I'll tell anybody. Try to have that drinking game right now. You'll be like an LDS. You'll be like a Baptist person. You're not going to touch an ounce of alcohol because the repetition is what makes you better, and the guests have been better because before I would chase. Yes, it would be people that would love to have, but a lot of sometimes they were just fillers. They're just people that I grew up with or whatnot that really didn't have anything to sell, but I needed a guest.
That's I want to key in on something that you said, and because I think it applies outside of, definitely outside of podcasting. But when you said consistently showing up, for a lot of people who watch this or may watch this, they may be in a completely different arena. They may be like, I have a lot of real estate friends. They may be in real estate. I have a lot of people that follow me that are in various small businesses. And quite frankly, business is hard. It's taking longer to build something. Like we've said before, social media is the highlight reel. It doesn't show the work and the angst and the sleepless nights. What do you do personally to show up every time consistently?
You have to scratch the record, change the focus. You can't go Hollywood with the win. Yeah, I learned this from LSU's former head coach Nick Saban. I don't know where he went after that. The 24-hour rule. You just celebrate your wins and your losses. Because man, there's times that people have ghosted me on this show, multiple, and my limiting belief is, well, we don't know why. Now it's like, hey, you gave me an extra hour. I can go jump on the Peloton, or I can do something. You just have to. Everybody is super excited to post that they started a business, that they got their health insurance license, that they got their real estate license. Any friggin' idiot can pass a test. And I mean, I got 2 degrees, so that can tell you congratulations. That just means you show up. You have to do the hard work. You know, everybody is happy when they become a realtor, but then they watch Selling Sunset or all these shows on Netflix. That person did not start selling $1 million homes. That
Right.
person didn't drive a Lambo or whatever. Are there people like that? That yes, but you have to understand. You have to start with your first sell, and that first sell, believe it or not, is not that potential prospect, client, or whatever. That first sell is you have to sell yourself that you are worthy, that you are good enough to do that, that you are great enough to have a business.
I want to kind of expand on what you just said there, because I think there's a lot of people that need to hear this. It's easy to start a business. Now, before y'all give me the pushback, let me get back to what he said. You see the beginnings. You see somebody post about this, that, the other they've started. Look, I got my real estate license in December, so I get it. But this is what I've seen. So many people fall off. So many people quit before they get going. So many people get discouraged and pivot over another direction because, oh, it must not be for me because I've been doing it for 3 months and haven't gotten a client, whatever it is. But here's the thing: the ones that are good and the ones that stick it out, they will outlast and they will rise to the top like cream rises to the top. I had a my printing company manager in Louisiana said this. He said, "Look, printing companies are going by the wayside. There's so many that are folding right now because of um, it's so much easier to order online, so much easier to do this, but there's always going to be a pocket of people who want to do with a local business." And he said, "If we're the last man standing, we get the business." And the truth is, in any small business, if you're good and you're the consistent man standing, you exponentially improve your odds of getting the business.
Always, you have to realize that once you pivot and realize that you're in service, you're helping solve people's problems, and that you're not chasing the mighty dollar. Because a lot of times, oh, I want to get into real estate. I want to get into this. I want to be an entrepreneur because flashing dollar signs. Once you change that focus, and it's not me, and it's on them, on the prospect, on the client, realizing not everybody is your prospect. There's some selling systems, there's some gurus that will tell you, yes, try to sell the shoes to the person that has no feet, because you never know, they might need it one day. No, that's manipulation. To me, a sale is when it's a win-win, when both parties come out on
Mm.
top.
So let me talk about that from a personal standpoint. Um, if you follow me on social, and I encourage you to follow us both on
Well,
social.
I do. I follow you on on it, on every. If you had a MySpace account, I'd follow you on MySpace, Dave.
Tom is my only friend over there. um, you would see that I've done several different things over the last 5 years. They look on the surface as if they're vastly different. I mean, from newspaper owner to leadership and business coach, now real estate. But what I have done has been very strategic, and that is all of these feed into one another. I learned how to be a better leader because in real estate, I'll end up leading a team. In real estate, I can help somebody have a win-win. I can use my customer service and sales skills that I developed over a year. So a lot of times what some people see as a change in direction may just be a retooling of the same direction. And Omar, I know you've had to reinvent yourself multiple times over the years. Talk about that. Talk about that alignment with who you are. Now money versus future money, and how all that works together in putting yourself out there.
It's easier to reinvent yourself over and over when you realize, and I learned this really from having a bunch of Buddhists on the podcast at different times. We are not a title. I am not the Smoothie King owner. I am not even, uh, if I was married, I'm not a husband. I'm not a single person. These are all titles that we cling on to. You know, I don't mind reinventing myself like I'm Cher over and over, just not wearing the assless chaps on a battleship somewhere on an aircraft carrier. But because that's not who I am. I am who I believe I am, and I don't. A lot of times we hold on to something like, oh, this is who I am. That's not. You're not an entrepreneur. You're not a Leo. You're not this. You're not that. So when you just be, and everything that I've ever done in my life all revolves around being in service. All
Mm.
is around helping other people. You and I wrote books. We didn't write books in the intention of being on Oprah's couch one day with Tom Cruise jumping up and down. It's personal development or business development. That'll never sell because people love to check out. If we wrote a book about dinosaurs coming back to life, or uh, romance, then that sells.
Right.
So we've always been in the business of wanting to help out others, and we don't lie. You've never heard me. You've we're partners, we're friends. You were one time my client. Did I ever tell you I'm going to get? I'm not Vanilla Ice. I can get you from zero to hero or anything like that. That's just some bullshit sold by some guru, man.
Right. Yeah. And
Completely. And people buy that. People buy that myth. People buy that. And then also, what's it going to do becoming an influencer? At the end of the day, when you meet St. Peter, when you meet Jesus, well, I was a YouTube influencer, but did you move the needle? Did you help out anybody? No, man, but I got 5,000 likes in cyber hugs because people quantify. Oh, whenever these Mediterranean people try to sell me that they can move zero to hero, I don't have the likes. Well, it's like I'm not my 20-year-old daughter dancing. I'm sorry.
right.
Yeah, I love my kid to death, but her stuff. It's like, honey, there's a lot of creeps out there. Yeah, young and old. That's why you're getting the likes. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I mean, yes, Mediterranean person. If I was filming content at Hugh Hefner's mansion, drinking tall boys and with hot chicks, then yeah. But I've never my happiness might be predicated amongst 18 and 22-year-olds, but my happiness and my worth has never been on the amount of likes, the amount of downloads, the amount of cyber hugs or cyber high fives that I get from people.
So I want to dive into that just a little bit because you're absolutely right. We have created an entire economy based upon likes and engagement. In fact, you know, people, people ask, well, why is there always, controversial crap on my Facebook feed? Well, those people are getting paid by Facebook if you engage with it. So
And the metric says, uh,
you slow
it's
down on
funny.
that scroll,
Yeah, it's
so you
because
might
that's
want
what
more of that.
you're a magnet for toxicity.
Yeah.
Because a perfect example, I don't get political stuff because you you've never heard me talk politics. You've never seen me say I can't wait to such and such wins because that's when my life changes. It'll always revolve around investing. Uh, Surprisingly, I get LSU stuff all the time. I don't know why. you know
I don't know, but look
college
at your ad
football,
on it,
college
right?
sports.
Yeah.
What you seek is what you attract, and people don't understand that. you know
Yes.
yes, social media is garbage because that's what you seek, and people don't want to know the truth. It's like, oh, well, I don't. Well, no, it's because that's what that it's a $1 trillion industry because it knows what you want, it knows
Yeah.
what you seek.
Well, and I'm looking right now at our metrics, and we have zero viewers on both platforms. You know why? Because we're not what most people are seeking right now. And yet, what we're putting out right now could literally change somebody's life and business. But they're so Kardashian that they'd rather see what their favorite celebrity ate for breakfast than they would about something that would really help them. And
Top
that's
story,
sad.
Dave. Top story. This is the top story that everybody clicked. Kim Kardashian, who never went to law school, thought you can just buy a program, probably from a guru, take the bar exam, and be the defender of the Menendez brothers, the defender of all those that were wrongly accused, like Scott Peterson, all these amazing people from society. And she flunked the exam either 3 or 5 times, and she's not going to become an attorney.
Oh
She's done.
no.
So that's the number one story. But Dave, if this was on every Thursday and it was on SEC football or SEC sports,
Oh yeah.
and I was talking about the lane train, and you're talking about how the Gators are back.
Conference
And we
USA,
went
baby.
back and forth, and then we would bring on a surprise guest from, yeah, a talking head from Arkansas. Not talking about Walmart, but talking about Arkansas sports. And then we had the Gamecock guy on, and we had the guy wearing the orange pants speaking all nasally like Morgan Wallen, and talking about the mighty T. Our numbers would go sky high.
You're right. You're right. And that's it's hilarious, but it's also very sad because
Oh, it's the truth though.
there is no shortage of positive information that can help move the needle for people. You and I are not unique, and guess what? I was looking yesterday, and this is kind of on topic and off topic, but we recently uploaded the TEDx Murfreesboro videos to the TED people, and we got 90% of them have been approved. But I'm scrolling through TEDx's YouTube channel. You know, being a TEDx speaker is not a guarantee of hundreds of thousands of views. In fact, most of them were in about a 300 views number.
Yes, but
And
but
there's good stuff because quote unquote their idea is worth spreading, but yet nobody's watching them or spreading them because they don't care. They'd rather watch something entertaining than something helpful.
But you know what? I can sell you a program. You and I could get people to do a TEDx, and we can sell them on the fact that once you're a TEDx speaker, you do one of these, you're an influencer. You are the top dog. People are gonna hire whatever it is that you're selling.
And you end up on stages and you end up on this and you
Oh
end up
my
on
gosh,
that.
it's like I
It's hard
thought
to get
St.
ring off
Peter
the hook
was.
with offers because you're a TEDx
I, I,
speaker.
I honestly I don't know how many downloads I have on that, and quite frankly, has it moved the needle? Absolutely not. There's three instances where it was weird. One, when I was working for a hashtag influencer, Patrick Bet David, that guru, the people were pissed off that I didn't put the guru over, you know, they had to, management had to keep on telling me that no matter what I did, you know, it would never impress them. I didn't realize at the time a 48, 47-year-old man had to impress other men. And the second time was at a job, and I never actually watched my speech just because of that. That's a true statement. And the guy was an LSU walk-on quarterback, which was super cool. Never played, but he held a clipboard, and we always spoke about LSU. And he wanted to show everybody the speech, and it was the first time. And I was like, and I'm like, oh, that's weird because I actually saw it, and I'm like, wow, I like that guy. I might know him. And then the third time was a coworker at a different place Googled me. I don't know why. So I see him and he's watching. I'm like, the TEDx
You're
talk.
standing on the dot and telling your
Yeah.
story.
And it was, and then he started telling everybody, but that's it. No woman has ever been like, oh my gosh, nobody's ever
He's such a
said
TED. He's a
yeah,
TEDx.
we need to hire this guy. We need to do, you know, do the TEDx talk. To put it to me, I always wanted to say my story. I knew I wasn't going to hire someone to help me because I see all the ads, man. You're once you get one of these, it's going to be you and Brene Brown and you with like 20 million views, and
You're going to be on a panel with Ed Milet. You know how.
oh yeah, oh my gosh. And I see all the ads still, and
Yeah.
it's like, so all these and there's like what, 12 per location,
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
all over the world. So you're telling me there's probably a good couple thousand people every year do it. So man, put it to you this way: my youngest did a TEDx talk, and I don't know how many views because I don't know her views, my views, whatever. She's going to graduate next week, and you know what? That's something that she can say she's done. But I don't think she got in her Vanderbilt because they're like, oh my gosh, you did it. We need more TEDx speakers.
Yeah. And again, nothing against the process or all, because there's nothing against it. It's a fabulous
Oh, it's
idea
amazing.
and process. What we're saying is there's no magic bullet. There's no,
There
hey, you
isn't.
do this one thing and all of a sudden you skyrocket. And that's true across everything. And back to the original thing when we talked about your podcast, you're doing all of these other things in hopes that maybe the building of those things leads to something greater. But at the same time, you're doing the daily. You're doing the work the every day. You're doing your show every week and consistently and constantly building that, not only externally with new subscribers and views, but internally of getting better what you do. And I think that is really the lesson of the entire visit today is, yes, it's okay to reach for the stars, but don't forget about the constant, consistent actions on the things that you can control.
And no, no, don't. have your success tied to any number. I remember being a guest on a podcast, and they're like, what if you wrote another two books, two, three books, you do a few more speeches, you do another TEDx talk or two, and would you find that to be success? I'm like, well, I'm like, yeah, I could say I'm successful because as long as I helped out one person, two people, three people, four people, whatever the number is, that's all I set out to do anyways. So
Right.
yeah,
I,
I don't ever recall telling you that, I want to hang out with gurus. you know, what people don't realize is once the camera's off, or once the recording's off, that this person that you love so much, that's not them. That's a character that they're playing.
yeah. And
Even the most whole, that's John Maxwell. That's John Maxwell, the leadership guy. That's not John Maxwell, the the preacher. That's not John Maxwell, loving husband, grandfather, or whatever. That's someone that he is, because that's who he clocks out. That's no different than Brad Pitt playing Tyler Durden in Fight Club.
yeah.
I don't think Tyler Durden is Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt is playing a character, and once people realize, all these influencers, once all these people, whether you're from Lake Charles or you're from Murfreesboro, some gurus that we know, you know, that's a character, man. That's not the these people are no different than you. They're just as flawed. They're just better
Well,
speakers with better abilities to connect to people.
yeah, that would be like, look, um, a NASCAR driver is really good at driving to the left. Really, really good. Better than all of us. And yet you don't judge him as a person by his ability to drive left. But yet we have this mistaken precept of that the perception that the person on the stage has to be the person off the stage, or vice versa, and when they're really operating in their highest skill set.
Perfect example, Dave. I just started watching this because you and I, we both grew up Hulk Hogan.
Hmm.
There's a new Netflix documentary, but you know what the whole premise and the whole gist is? That Terry Bollea was not Hulk Hogan in real life. That Hulk Hogan was a fabricated character. I was like, holy smokes, really?
Yeah,
I thought he
yeah,
ate his vitamins. Is that what he
yeah,
was? His catchphrase?
yeah,
To eat your veggies, take your vitamins, and something else. But yes, that Terry Bollea was a completely different person. That wasn't, he was not Hulk Hogan, and it was like, and it's funny because they have all these documentaries, that Mickey Mantle was a philanderer and an alcoholic. No shit. These people are, or Brett Favre. Oh my god. And it's like, yes, and Lance Armstrong. Yes, they're all human.
yeah.
That can do a really amazing job at one thing, at their God given talent, and just excelled at it. But they're no different than you and I.
Yeah, and I think that's a good place to kind of wrap this up. Is look, no one's better than you, no one's worse than you. They've just been able to skill up in an area, and they've been consistent. They might have gotten a break here and there, depending on how life went, but for the majority of successful people, they will tell you consistency over the long haul. I get back to the same example I use all the time, and that is those guys who just win the Super Bowl, standing up on the stage, hoisting the Lombardi trophy, say the same thing. Our team has overcome so much adversity this season. There it
Doesn't
is.
every team have adversity?
They have to stay the course. You change what needs to be changed, but you don't change the goal, and you stay consistent, and you will eventually arrive where you want to arrive.
perfect example. I would tell, am I a great podcaster? I don't know. That's up to someone to decide. But listen to episode 1, listen to episode 50, listen to episode 100, 150, 200, and 250. Thanks. I'll get more numbers. I'm joking. I could care less. And you'll see that guy just got better and better. It wasn't because God wanted to give me a fake mic to use or anything. It was just practice, practice, practice. That's the way to get to Carnegie Hall, and that's the way, I guess, to be the best guru or the best whatever it is that you want to be.
And with that, Omar, thank you for taking time out and being on this live slash podcast. Again, if I can figure out the technology, you know how I am. I'm always trying something new. But guys, reach out to us. Follow us on social. Follow us, Omar Medrano. Go to Elevate Success Path. That is a coaching community that we've created. We don't charge much for it, and and then we only charge just to make sure people will show up. So I hope you have a great rest of your week, Omar. I hope everything goes well with you as you navigate the rest of your week. And guys, God bless.